The mic's a bit loose.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you so much, Baba.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong.
Beautiful kirtan, beautiful tune. So it's
Thank you.
very nice.
Time for a beautiful class.
Oh, I don't know about that. Krishna willing. The guy said he was a bit loose. Yeah. Yeah. So Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all for coming in this beautiful month of Karthik. And I don't know whether you've been following it or not, but they have been doing lovely pastimes of Krishna. And they started off on Monday, like Karthik Day. And every single day they are doing from 6:30 till 7 pastimes of Krishna, a different one. So for 30 days, you can all get to know what Krishna gets up to, right? Because this is his pastimes as Leela. So usually just 0 to 5-year-old ones, and then there's 5 to 10-year-old ones. So, it's really nice to hear. So we'll just do a very small kirtan, and Jai Radha Mother basically asking them to bless us and just prayers. And then today we'll be talking about Brahma Vimoha Leela. I don't know if you guys would like to come this side or that side in the front. If you're comfortable and you don't want to move, I can appreciate that as well. But it's nice. It saves me having to carry on looking like this. But, we can still do that. It's not a problem. So thank you so much again. So we'll start off, and this young boy was doing such a lovely melodious kirtan. Hats off to you, and all glories to everyone who keeps doing services in Karthik. That's one of the main things. So, okay, I'll just start off with Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. I'll have to go low because I can't take it that high. So Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Yeah, that's more like Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopi Janvallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janvallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandan Braj Janaranjana Yashodanandan Braj Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Banchari Jamuna Tira Banchari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hey Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokul Nand Radha Gokul Nand Radhe. Jai Jai Radha Gokul Nand Radha Gokul Nand Radhe Radhe. Jaya Radha Landaneshwar Radha Landaneshwar Radhe Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. बोलो श्री श्री राधा गोकुलनंद भगवान जी की, सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जी की, गौरनिताय की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की, and Guru Maharaj ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada, as everyone knows, I'm sure most of you come here because he's our Jagat Acharya, right? If it was not for this elderly man who left, in his retirement age, lovely coziness of Vrindavan, the beauty of Vrindavan, to come here and to preach to us, and make all these nice places. Otherwise, where we will be without that? So please, please always bear that in mind, the backbone and our gurus. So yes, thank you all for coming, and thank you to online viewers, if there are any, for joining us. I'm Vrinda Vilasini Devi Dasi, and my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Shri Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. And so today I'm going to be talking about pastimes, which is for half an hour. We're talking about Brahma Vimoha Leela. So like I said, I think His Grace Navdeep Chandra Prabhu and Jigna Mataji, they come up with this nice, in my opinion, a very nice idea and something different, that every half an hour on a day from 6:30 to 7 p.m., they'll be doing a new pastime about Krishna. So it's a pleasure to be here. And today we'll be doing, like I mentioned, Brahma Vimoha Leela. So it's about Lord Brahma, and Vimoha is obviously illusion, or, and then it's that Leela or that pastime. That's what we're going to be talking about. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and remembering our dearest Guru Maharaj, and Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Charu Swami Ti Namine. And Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshtharani. So seeking their blessings. I don't know if Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan Ji ki. So yesterday, I don't know if any of you were here or if you watched it online, Rajesh Krishna was giving class and he was talking about the pastime of Aghasur. Aghasur, as you all know, is a big python or snake pastime. And before that, there was like Krishna being binded by love, and then, you know, the first day, there's all the other leelas they've mentioned that they have talked about. And we all know about the Damodar pastimes that's going on in this special month of Kartik. So taking on from there, you heard from Rajesh Krishna that the Aghasur was killed by Krishna because he suffocated because Krishna expanded himself so much. And they were all planning to have a lunchtime picnic, as so to speak, before Aghasur appeared like a cave, and then them being inquisitive, they went into it. And the rest is history, as we know. So leading on from there, what we're reading from is, you can find it in Krishna book. It's chapter 13. So for reference, if you'd like. Rajesh Krishna did chapter 12, and I'm doing chapter 13. So it starts off with Sukadev Goswami feeling very encouraged and pleased at Parikshit Maharaj's question. So we all know Srimad Bhagavatam is all about, you know, question and answers. So they asked, so Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadev Goswami as to why did none of the children as talked about how Aghasur was killed? You know what you children are like, guys. As soon as something nice happens or something unusual happens, what do you want to go and do? You normally go and tell mom, right? Or dad, this happened today, or we killed a snake today, or we had this today, and you know all that. And Parikshit Maharaj was curious as to why the children in Vrindavan didn't go back to their parents and tell them about how Aghasur will kill until after a year of this. So this is the question that's being asked. Let's see if you can detect the answer, because I'm going to be talking about it, and we'll do a question, time permitting, as to have you found the answer to that question, because Parikshit Maharaj is asking that. So Parikshit Maharaj was very happy that, you know, he's asked a nice question, because these questions and talking about Krishna like we're doing today, it's called transcendental, right? So in this Krishna book, they've given a definition of Krishna consciousness. You are all conscious of Krishna. But what they say is, when someone, naturally a devotee, I mean, we've got this, what's your name? I know, but nobody else does. What's your name? Jaydev. So Jaydev, how old are you today? 10, my God. So Jayadev's been coming to one of the sanghas, and I can tell you, if I say to him, recite this particular verse, he would be able to. He's been reciting since he was 5 or 6. They used to come to our sangha. I'm seeing him after nearly 2-3 years now. So looks have changed, but I can recognize his face. But you see, so for a devotee, it's only natural that they want to engage their energies, their mind, yeah, their face, their mouth, and their ears for what? For hearing about Krishna, right? Like we are all doing. And about chanting the words. Chanting about Krishna or Krishna's pastimes. So these are the transcendental subject matters. They are not like the normal stale matters. You know, today there's politics, there's this, somebody is coming, somebody is going. There's mundane subjects, but they all become stale because the more you hear about it, you think, hang on a minute, I already know about that, I don't want to know, right? But these leelas that we're talking about, the more you hear, the more you get the rasa, because they are called, there's a big long word used in Krishna book, it's called Nitya Navan Vayaman. So Nitya means always. Navan means always new. So irrespective of how many times you hear, you can still, we've all seen so many, details and about Krishna's pastime and everything, but every time we hear the details, it's nice, it's pleasing to the ears. But if you have to see one movie or one subject matter about 100 times or 10 times or even repeated a little bit, it'll become stale. So this is the difference. This is why we do it. So this is the definition of Krishna consciousness given in there, that you hear with rapt attention, and your chanting should be with lots of attention and for subject matters which are transcendental. Okay, so when we hear eagerly, when we hear sincerely, that's when, like in this particular instance, Sukadev Goswami would be happy to reveal the confidential knowledge to Parikshit Maharaj. Similarly, like us, like my dearest Guru Maharaj, well, if the disciples who are very sincere and inquisitive, they would be understanding, they would be disclosing the pastimes like that to them, the confidential pastimes of, the Lord. So then they start off, he said, okay, so going on from then lunch, where setting the scene, there's like peacocks are going cooing, there is birds chirping, it's lovely lush green fields, there is lovely trees, and there is, the sound is nice and really pleasing in the heat. It's on the river bank of Jamuna. So Krishna says, oh my God, this looks really nice. Especially when boys have been into the fishy mouth of Aghasur and then come back. So they said, well, why don't we now actually try and actually just carry on with lunch? It's already late. Why don't we all have lunch today? So he said, okay, this is a nice spot. So whilst we have lunch, the little calves that are there, they can actually drink water or they can graze on the soft spot of the grass that's there. So they all sit down, and this is in Krishna book, it explains how Krishna is sitting in the center whilst everybody else, all his friends, all these cowherd boys, they are all surrounding him, and how he, like Krishna is like a whirl of lotus, and he's having pastimes with all these young boys, And all the demigods, as we know, do you remember, like Rajesh Krishna Prabhu talked about this in Aghasur thing, that they were all looking, Similarly, Brahma also looked. So all the demigods were looking and they were thinking, hang on, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this little cowherd boy, and he is actually laughing and joking, sharing lunch, they're having that transcendental pastimes. Whilst the youngsters, the young cowherd boys were just feeling the bliss of the company of the Srila, of the Krishna's company. But the demigods were just getting astonished. Look how this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all he's doing is laughing, joking. How lucky, like that. So Lord Brahma, who's born from the navel of Vishnu, also thinks, hang on a minute, I've heard he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is little, but, I wonder, how he does all these things, because he had seen him also sorting out Aghasur and getting rid of him. So what he did was he said, okay, let me try what I can, let me see if I can have some fun at their expense, and let me test, is he really the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So what does he do? Whilst Krishna and his friends are enjoying the lunch, the cows not so far away are grazing, the calves. And then what he does is one of the children noticed that there's no cows are grazing, none of the calves who were nearby drinking water and grazing have disappeared. So they became fearful and they said, Krishna, what's happened to our cows? Who's taken them? So Krishna looked and he said, because he's got affection for all the devotees, he said to them, don't worry, you guys carry on with your lunch. Let me go check it out. I'll go check it out. And here they give a very good, they say that Krishna, who is the killer of the fear personified, because everyone is afraid of fear personified. So the personality of fear, everyone is fearful of him. But Krishna actually makes him frightened, by being Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they said, just by taking Krishna's name, all those boys, the young Gwalas and the Gopas, they all immediately felt the transcendental fearful situation had gone. The fearful situation had gone, and they felt the transcendental bliss just by remembering Krishna. So for you youngsters, there's all these lovely children, lovely girls here. If you ever feel scared of anything, have you heard about Nrsingadev Prabhu? Nrsingadev Bhagwanji, and then there is Lord Krishna. So when in fear, what can you do in your mind? Chant Krishna. Because it worked with all the other Gopas, I'm sure it'll work with you guys too, okay? So, moving on, whilst everybody else they continued taking their lunch, Krishna goes, he looks up the mountains, through the bushes, he went and he looked through the caves, forest, but guess what? He couldn't find any of the calves who were grazing. So he said, oh, what's going on? So when he returns to say, he sees even all the Gwalas, which were also having all the cowhead friends of his, the little boys who were eating, they've also been disappeared. What Brahma had done was actually put them to sleep without Krishna knowing, and just thought, well, let me see who has more power, right? Who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because he felt that he's got mystical powers. Let me show Krishna what I can do, right? So Krishna, with his powers, knew that this is someone's foul game. And so Lord Brahma was obviously surprised to see how little boy could act so wonderfully. So when he said he wanted to see some more glorifying pastimes of the Lord. So he put them to sleep thinking, let me come back to it. And in the meantime, Krishna obviously sees what Lord Brahma's done. He realizes. So he says, hang on a minute. You've stolen all the cowherd boys. You have stolen all the calves and the cows. So let me sort something out. So what did he do? He thought, if I go home without all my friends, how is everyone's mother's going to feel? So what's your name? You're in pink? Huh? Maliha. Okay, so when you don't get home, what happens? Mommy doesn't like it? Papa doesn't like it? Or does he feel pleased when you come home? Yes? So when you even go to school, think how you feel. You come back, you think, yeah, I'm home, and you want to hug your parents. Parents want to hug you. So Krishna he's so affectionate, he's so considerate. He felt like, okay, I'm here, but if I just go, what happens to all the other mothers in Vrindavan? They'll be looking out for their children and they're not going to be there. So what he decided to do, he came up with a plan to expand himself into all his cowherd boys as well as the calves that had been put or taken away by Brahma. So has anybody else got powers to do that? Can you do that? Can you clone yourself? I know scientists can clone something, but Supreme Personality of Godhead could not only clone all these friends and stuff, but he also actually made the exact replica. So if Jayadev didn't go home, but Jayadev's mum wouldn't know Jayadev is not home, because whilst Jayadev was put to sleep by Brahma, there was a Jayadev number 2 that ended up going to mom, right? So when they returned home, all the mothers were in that frenzy. They loved, they looked after their children, they gave them bath, they fed them and everything. And when they hugged them with affection, naturally the milk started flowing. And then not only just Yashoda, there is a mention in Krishna book that this way Krishna decided to give all elderly gopis and all the mothers in Vrindavan the service of the Lord Krishna, right? See how nice he is. So he not only just gives service to his mother, but he's giving service to everyone in Vrindavan, so they could look after. Similarly, when the calves went back to the cows licked them, and they had lots of milk flowing, so they fed. And they could see that everyone in Vrindavan loved Krishna a lot. So they could see that even these, if we can call them replica, or the new people that Krishna had created, they were loved even more than they had loved their own children. So Krishna is being loved by everyone there. So it was a bit surprising that how is this happening? But anyway, because Krishna had expanded, everybody just naturally felt the increased attraction and affection for that than they had actually felt for their children before. So then one time, it was, I think, almost a year ago now. So bearing in mind, this was the question a year ago. What happened? Brahma was a little bit also petrified that, oh, this is meant to be Krishna, is meant to be my boss, is meant to be the creator of the world. So let me go see some fun and games. Now I've put everyone to sleep. Let's see what happens. So he goes there and he sees that, hang on, Krishna is still how he'd seen him before. He is still playing with all the cowhead boys. He's still sharing his stuff. All the calves are still there when Brahma had already put him to sleep. What's going on? So he said, hang on. So this is where the title comes in, Brahma Vimoho Lima. So he become mystical, thinking, I'm the big mystical person. I have put everyone to sleep. And now he's thinking, hang on. In Vrindavan, everyone's exactly the same. Let me go back. He goes there and then he's thinking, could it be these people, when I come here, they come here, or he becomes illusioned himself. And in his attempt to show Krishna down, he actually, doesn't do himself any favor, because he ends up looking ludicrous himself, because he's ended up creating a situation where he's now not sure. And Lord Brahma is not an ordinary person. We know Lord Brahma he is the one who controls the goddess of education. Who knows what Saraswati Mata does? Anyone knows Saraswati? You've heard her name? Education, right? She is who everyone prays to, for Saraswati, for giving education and granting. And then Lord Brahma, and he can't understand. So then one time, this is what happened with Lord Balram, who is Krishna's brother. He notices that one time in Govardhan, there were cows which were on top grazing. And then from the top of the valley, you could see there's calves grazing that was being tended by the youngster boys, cowherd boys. So as soon as the cows saw the youngster calves, they want to quickly come down, even though their feet were kind of tied, without even worrying about anything at the look of those calves, because we already know they were the expansions of Krishna. So there's all these reactions happening. Their milk is flowing, and it's going all over the land, and they have that affection. So all the elderly men who were tending these cows, whilst the young boys were looking at the calves downstairs, when they just quickly came down without caring for themselves, first they were getting angry because they want to keep cows away because then they had some milk left for other things. But they couldn't stop the cows. So cows started licking and then feeding the calves. And that kind of love was ongoing. And then Balram, Krishna's brother, who hadn't gone a year before his birthday, and exactly the same day, which he hadn't, he just cottoned on to the fact, hang on, there is more to what meets the eyes. Then he realizes that Brahma is being mystical, but my worshipable Lord, who is Krishna, he is even more, mystical, because he's then created a situation which Brahma wanted everyone to suffer. No one suffered, because Krishna has made exact replicas. So that's when he realizes, oh my God, then he asks Krishna. Then Krishna says, look, Brahma stole all the children, and he wanted to show me down, and he wanted to see my further pastimes. So I am now going to show him, and this is what I've done. So he discloses. And this is why. So cows have got such a nice relationship. That's why Krishna is also known as what? Starting with G. One of his names is what? Krishna? Govinda, Govinda, yeah, tender of the cows. So then Krishna explains, he just says that he was concealing this incident of Lord Brahma so that no one's affected. This is how kind Krishna is, because he looks after us as well. So that nobody could get hurt. This is why we all come here. We want to pay our respects to Krishna. Why? Because we know once Krishna, he is so affectionate. Once we become his devotee, he feels obliged. And once you're obligated or you feel obliged, you would do anything. Like, look, all the children were having lunch. He said, you guys carry on, I'll go and look. All the mothers would have felt so bereft without their children. What did he do? Create somebody else so that they don't even lose or feel the loss of their children. So anyway, so mystical power of Brahma is then compared to Krishna, and there's an analogy that they give. And they say, you know, just as snow peaks of the mountain in darkness means nothing. So when you get up in the morning, sun shining, you can see at far away the mountain's got a nice snowy peak. But when it's dark, it's lost. Similarly, they give analogy of glowworm. I don't know if children know, like in some of the Mediterranean countries like India or like some of the warm countries, there is like a little glowworms that you actually see, which are flying about at night time. So what Krishna is saying is that Brahma tried to do mystical powers, and it was as useless as if a glowworm shining in the daytime, because you can't see that glow. It's only useful in the night time. And then Brahma looks at it, closes his eyes, and then he sees, and then he notices that there are all these different youngster boys are actually Vishnu Murtis. Why? They're bluish in color, they're wearing yellow garments. There's a full description there that they've got something on their chest, they got jewels on their armlets, they've got all sorts of fresh tulsi buds going from their feet to top. So then he realizes that Vishnu, who is in mode of goodness, Brahma is in mode of passion, and Lord Shiva is in mode of ignorance. But here they shows that there is Mahima and Anima, and this is where somebody can be as small as atom, and then there is something as big as, you know, a big mountain. So they're using all these mystical powers, you know. So so there's lots of lesson learnt. So this is it. When Krishna, when Lord Brahma comes back after a moment, so basically Lord Brahma's moment is equal to 1 year of our solar years. So do you understand why none of the children were able to tell their parents as to Aghasur was killed? Do you understand? Because Brahma, once he told them, went away for a moment to come back to see what's happening. That moment of Brahma is equivalent to 1 year in solar years on our planet. So that's why, so by the time these boys were, broken up and everything, it was a year. So as soon as they went back to their people, as soon as they went back to their mothers, the actual children. So that's when Brahma realized, oh my God, what have I done? And then what he does, he actually folds like a rod, and it's given description of like a golden rod. So when we all come in, we pay Dandvat Pranams. Look at that Prabhuji there. How is he doing it? He's like a rod, yeah, on the floor. So they're saying Dandvat Pranams. That's how it started. So Lord Brahmaji then gives Dandvat Pranams to Lord Krishna, his crown touching, the edges of his crown touching the lotus feet of Krishna. He realizes that he has defeated, he's already defeated by his own attempt, and his mystical powers diminished because, he just tried to do that. Lord Brahma realizes Vishnu is Satchid Anand. So he's got 3 transcendental features. He's all, Sat means truthful, all, Chit means all knowledgeable, fully knowledgeable, and bliss, Ananda. So those 3 qualities, then he really appreciates it. Then he gets to really find out that everything that's made up in this Srishti, in material world, and we are just like puppets. So Lord Brahma and all the other things which is made up on this, even though Lord Brahma has come from the navel of Lord Vishnu, even then his powers compared to Krishna's, right? not a lot. And we are just like a puppet. What does puppet do? Can puppet work things by themselves, or they need to be, are they independent, or they actually, yeah. So we all seen puppet shows. They only do what the operator of the, and similarly, Krishna is doing everything. So you're very lucky he's brought you in this lovely month of Kartik, because out of all the months, Kartik is the month where you have, it's called sale month. If you chant one time, the effects of 10,000, like Rajesh was saying, buy one, get one free. So when you chant one time, you're getting 10,000 times or 1,000 times effect of that one chanting. So in this Kartik month, you should come here in temple, offer your candle like you all do, which is why you're here, and read more. If you are reading already lots, then concentrate and learn what Krishna is trying to teach you from that lesson thing. Then you can actually chant their names more. If you think that you're already chanting lots, then just concentrate on your chanting. Just something to increase the intensity of all the worship that you're doing. So let's all put our hands up in the air, because all the mothers would know the children, when they want to come into your lap, they say, Mommy, 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 by their hands up. That's what we want to be like to Krishna. We want to say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. May Lord Krishna always keep us in their shelter. Thank you all for attending, and now the Aarti is going to be happening. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand Bhagwan Ji ki jai. Kartik Maas ki jai.
Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand Bhagwan ki jai. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Gora Nitai Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodar Bhagwan ki jai. Shila Prabhupada ki jai.
Everyone please come forward and sit down. He is sitting down, not standing up. Sorry, नीचे बैठिए सब लोग, नीचे बैठिए.
नमामीश्वरं सच्चित् आनन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानं नमामीश्वरं सच्चित् आनन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानं नमामीश्वरं सच्चित् आनन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् गोप्या यशोदा यशोदा विलोका यादवमानं परमृष्टमत्यन्त उद्धृत गोप्या दन्तं मुहुर्नेत्र युग्मं निजङ्कं परं भोजयुग्मेन शताङ्कनेत्रम् पात्रिरेकाङ्ककान्ता स्थितग्रीव दामोदरं भक्तिपादम् त्रिरेकाङ्ककान्ता स्थितग्रीव दामोदरं भक्तिपादम् इति दृक्ष्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुन्दे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम् तदीयेषिताग्नेषु भक्तेर्जितत्वं पूर्ण प्रेमतस्तं सर्वा वृत्तिवन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षं वधिं वा न चान्यं हृदेहं वैषादपि इदं देव पूर्णाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्यामि न्यस्तं किमन्ये इदं ते मुखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले घृतं कुन्तले स्निग्ध रक्तश्च गोप्या मुहुष्कुम्भितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मानस्याभिरष्टम् आलं लक्षलभ्ये मुहुष्कुम्भितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मानस्याभिरष्टम् आलं लक्षलभ्ये नमो देव दामोदरानन्द विष्णु प्रसीदत भूदुःखजलब्धिमग्ना दृश्या कृपा दृष्टि वृष्याति दिनं बतानु गृहणे क्षमामग्नं यद्यक्षि दृश्या कुबेरात्मजोपाधा मूर्त्यभयाद्वा त्वयमुचितो भक्ति भजो कृतोच्चा तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयाचा न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेहा तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयाचा न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेहा नमस्तेऽस्तु धाम्ने स्फुरादिप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयाय प्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयाय प्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् त्वदीयाय प्रियायै नमो राधिकायै नमो राधिकायै नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयाय प्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामो 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 हरे हरे Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय राधा दामोदर राधे राधे 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 जय राधा गोकुलानंद राधे राधे जय राधा गोकुलानंद राधे राधे जय सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय निमानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय पतित पावन शिला प्रभुपदा जगद्गुरु शिला प्रभुपदा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Radha Damodar Radhe Radhe Jai Radha Damodar Radhe Radhe Jai Radha Gokulanand Radhe Radhe Jai Radha Gokulanand Radhe Radhe Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, and who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing is quickly running from a wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his 2 lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound, not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my humble obeisances to Lord Damodar hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you were able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours, as Bala Gopal in Vrindavan, may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? O Lord Damodar, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisance unto you. O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord. Be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes. O Lord Damodar, just as the 2 sons of Kuvera, Manigriv and Nalakuvera, were delivered from the curse of Narad and made into great devotees by you in your form as baby tied with rope to wooden grinding mortar, in this same way, Shri Shri Damodar Bhagwan ki, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Gauranitai Bhagwan ki, Shila Prabhupada ki. In this same way, please give to me your own Prema Bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any other kind of liberation. O Lord Damodar, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar Bhagwan ki. Thank you all very much for coming to Bhaktivedanta Manor this evening for candle offering during this auspicious month of Kartik. If everyone can please be seated, we'll now be doing Narsinghadev prayers. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा जोर से हरे कृष्णा ओके भगवान बैठिए 5 मिनट नर्सिंग प्रेयर होगा उसके बाद जाना सिट डाउन फॉर 5 मिनट ओके सो ऑल यू शुड बी नाउ वी वाज प्रेइंग टू लॉर्ड दामोदर दिस इज कॉल्ड दामोदर मंथ कार्तिक मास मींस लॉर्ड कृष्णा हैज दिस पास्ट टाइम इन श्रीमद् भागवतम that Lord Krishna was stealing the butter, then his mother was tying him up with rope. So that was the past time we were singing. This is only once a year. I mean, 1 month. So then this prayer was called Damodar Ashtakam. And now we're going to have a Narsingha prayer, and after that, somebody may be going to give some parvachan on Bhagavad Gita. So with me, raise your hand up. कृष्णा गिवन यू हैंड राइज हाथ ऊपर करिए और मेरे पीछे से जोर से बोलना जोर से ओके राइज योर हैंड कृष्णा गिवन यू हैंड ओके बोले हरे कृष्णा जोर से प्रसाद मिलेगा जोर से हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जो से बोले राधा गोकुलानंद भगवान की सीता राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की गोनिताय भगवान की शिल प्रभुपाद की संध्या आरती की निताय गौर प्रबंधे नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय पेलाद लादादयहने हिरण्यकशिपुर्वक्षा शिलतांकान कालाये इतो नरसिंहो पारातो नरसिंहो जातो जामिता तो नरसिंहो Nrsingo, Hirdaye Nrsingo. Nrsingamadin Sharanamrapade. Avakara Kamalavare na Adbhuta Singha Dalita Hiranyakasipu Potanu Bhinga Kesavakrita Narahari Rupa Jagadish Hare Jayo Jagadish Hare Jagadish Hare Hare Natha Aditahi Tanu Bhinga Keshavadita केशवद्रीता नरहरि रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवद्रीता नरहरि रूप जय जगदीश जय जगदीश Jayo Narsinghadev Jayo Narsinghadev 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 Jayo Narsinghadev नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, प्रहलाद महाराज की, राधा दामोदर की, राधा गोकुलानंद की, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. You can go outside and have prasad. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow again. We have a 1 month until the 7th of November. You come every day. And that will multiply your bhakti 1,000 times. That's what he say in Damodar month. Hare Krishna. Thanks.
So, Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for coming to Bhaktivedanta Manor. We're now going to be hosting some kirtans for His Grace Chara Krishna Prabhu, who recently left his body. So please stay in the temple room. We'll start off with having His Grace Kripamoy Prabhu speaking to us. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
How are you?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Would everyone like to come a little closer? Unless you're happy where you are, but you can come a little closer, don't worry. So I can see your faces. Hare Krishna, everyone. Well, good evening and welcome to... You can close those doors there. Keep the hubbub. This is a... My name is Kripa Moya, and I think I've known members of the Raj family for at least 40 years. You will have seen me maybe at weddings or other functions. No matter how hard we try, we can never compress 82 years of a long-lived and loved life into a few minutes. Everyone will have their own memories, but I just wanted to say a little something, and then as the days progress we will speak more. First I wanted to say my condolences to you for your sad loss. Charu Krishnadas was a patriarch of the family, like grandfather Bhishma, someone who's very solid. I've been hearing a little about his spiritual practices, and they're quite outstanding. This practice of spiritual austerity is relatively easy when we're young, but we become severely tested when we get old. And it's then that we prove our faith in God. If we can still be doing the same prayers as we did in our youth, in our old age, this is a great test, because life becomes a little difficult. Physically, mentally, the strains are there as we get older. But those of you who know him know more than me how dedicated he was towards the end. I'm a native, not a native boy of Kenya, but I used to live there, and I know well know the town of Kisumu. If you go to Kisumu today, it is completely transformed. Anybody here from Kisumu? You'll see a completely different town, isn't it? Completely different. Even we should say verging on a city. A lot more concrete there. A lot bigger place. Well, I was there in 1979, and it was a small village on the bank of the Lake Victoria. And Charu Krishna Prabhu was born there on the 28th of June 1940. Is that right? Have I got the date right? 1940, a long time ago. And he lived a very long life. These days, if you live to 82 years, you're doing very well. The ancient texts tell us if you live to 70, that is a life well spent. But something in keeping with coming from Kisumu and coming from that part of Africa that I remember well is that devotion to Krishna was very strong. Because you were once, twice, sometimes 3 generations out of India. You had to fight more to keep your religion. So the Hindus of East Africa were even stronger than the Hindus in India, because they had something to fight for. 1940 was not an easy time to be born. It was the middle of a war in which Kenya was British fighting war with just about everybody else in Europe at the time. But it produced strong people. And let's hear a little bit about the devotion. Chara Krishna Das is a disciple of His Holiness Radha Govinda Swami, who is a great devotee, great disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who met Srila Prabhupada, who'd heard about him, and he went to be with him. Is that right? He's still with us, of course, yeah. He went to be with Srila Prabhupada. Not went to be with Srila Prabhupada, but he went to visit Srila Prabhupada because he'd heard about him by reading a book. But unfortunately, the first time he met him, he didn't recognize him. He asked for directions. He asked Srila Prabhupada, do you know where the followers of Swami Prabhupada is? Do you know where Prabhupada is? Bhaktivedanta Swami is. And Prabhupada said, why? He said, because he's a great sadhu. And Prabhupada said, I don't think so. He said, I don't think so. He said, but he has written a great commentary on the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's a great follower of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada again said, I don't think so. I don't think so. And he gave some argument as to why not. And eventually it dawned on this young man that he was in fact speaking to Bhaktivedanta Swami. So when our devotion is tested like that, we push a little bit and we become even more devoted because of it. So it's a very nice story. Radha Govinda Maharaj I interviewed him once for a book I was writing. And I said, Maharaj, how did you begin initiating disciples? And he said, well, there were 7 young men in Bihar, and I took them to Vrindavan in late October 1977. And he asked Prabhupada, would you please initiate these boys? I've been preaching to them. Prabhupada said, no. He said, no, you do it. He said, I'm too sick at the moment. So he eventually went away, and he went to the temple president. He said, what shall I do? I brought these boys to be initiated. Prabhupada says, no. He says, you do it. I can't do it. Who am I? So the temple president went to Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, he's brought 7 young boys to be initiated by you. You told him to do it, but he's not a guru. Prabhupada became angry. He said, I told him he must do it. He said, you know that. I have told him, follow that. And so this is how he began his. So as an impeccable sadhu, it is very nice that Chara Krishna made his acquaintance and fell at his holy feet in 1991, 90s, somewhere around like that. And very quickly became very devoted. I was very impressed. Sometimes I find it difficult to get up in the morning. Do you find it difficult to get up in the morning? It's difficult, isn't it? Especially in this part of the world. But imagine getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is how I believe Chara Krishna Das. He would get up sometimes at 3 o'clock and pray his beads to his mala. He was a great Bhagat and a follower of also Lord Narasimha. I believe in his hospital he had not only the Narasimha image, but also the Narasimha Kavacha prayer playing, as well as Srila Prabhupada's japa in the last couple of weeks. Now we may ask ourselves, and sometimes if we live a long life, sometimes we may be conscious or we may be unconscious. That is why when we go to, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if you think of me at the time of death, I will take you to be with me. But what happens if you're not conscious at the time of death? Well, Lord Varaha in the Varaha Purana speaks to Mother Bhumi, and he says, if my devotee is unconscious at the time of death, if my devotee is as conscious, as unconscious as a log, a piece of wood, inert, flat. He said, I will come into his consciousness, and I will make him think of me, and I will take him to me. This is great mercy. This is great kripa. I was in India for the first time in 1977. Srila Prabhupada had just translated the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And at one point he was talking about Lord Nrsimhadev, the half-man, half-lion form of the Lord, who comes to protect his devotees. And at one time Prabhupada, he raised his left hand like this, and with his right hand he began tracing a semicircle. He said, Lord Nrsimhadev's fingers are very sharp, but his palm is very soft. He said, for the demons, he said, there are the nails of Lord Nrsimha. Madhvacharya writes this book, the Naka Stuti, the fingernails of Lord are like the Sudarshan chakra. He said, but for the devotees, it is like a palm. The palm is for blessing the devotees. So one who does not surrender to Lord Nrsimha, he won't get the blessings. Someone who does gets many, many blessings. So this is very indicative of the state of consciousness. I understand that in the last weeks, Godruma Bihari was visiting Charakrishna Das, your grandfather, uncle, brother, and gave him a blessing by taking the flower garland here. Now, every year he would go to Vrindavan to see his Guru Maharaj, but in the last few years, I understand it was difficult for him to do that. But in this way, I would like to think that Vrindavan, Sri Krishna, came to him. Hare Krishna. Yes? I think so. You see, my friends, we have to understand Krishna is very kind. Krishna is very kind. Krishna goes way, way beyond any mechanical contrivance, any mechanical way we may have or we may attempt to have to bring Krishna into our life. Krishna oversteps that by many, many yards. Krishna is even more merciful than we are innovative. Krishna comes to us if we can't come to him. And in this way there's a relationship established. Charakrishna Das must have loved Krishna because he could remember the stories. And I gather that when he went to the Sangha meetings at Jatin Kariya's house and Bharati's house, he would remember the stories and tell the stories. Am I right? He liked remembering the stories. So, you're blessed to be part of the Raj family. You know why? Because you have so many people in the Raj family and in the extended family and the extensions to the extensions of that family that are very understanding and sympathetic to Sanatana Dharma and sympathetic to Krishna. And we need such families. It's very sad when someone of the stature of Charakrishna passes away. It is very difficult for all of us who are left behind. There's not quite any type of loss that is equal to the loss of a senior member of not only a family but a dynasty. There's no loss. And each of you will feel that loss in a unique way over the next few weeks, few months, and even years. But we must take comfort in the fact that every single activity that we perform in life, especially those activities dedicated to Krishna, those bhakti activities, will be fully accepted and reciprocated by the Lord. And ultimately it is like when we're in the womb for 9 months. And we're warm, we're comfortable, we're with our mother. And then comes a voice. And the voice says, my child, it's time to come out. And we say, no, I don't want to come out. I'm warm, I'm comfortable, I'm with my mother. What could be better than being in the womb? My mother's feeding me, it's quiet, it's warm, it's comfortable. What could be better than this? But the voice is the voice of God, and it says, no, 9 months is up. You must come. By my order, it is time to go. And I will show you that there's something better even than being in this womb. I'll show you a better life. And so we come into the world kicking and squinting and trying to understand the world around us. Many, many years later, we're very comfortable. Again, we have our family, we have our children, our children's children, our children's children's children. What could be better than this? I'm warm, I'm comfortable, I'm being fed, they're protecting me. And then we hear the voice of God. My child, it's time to come. I don't want to leave. I'm happy here. I worship you. I love them. Why should I go anywhere? And the voice insists, no, time to come. But if you come, says the voice of God, I will show you something better. Just as I spoke to you in the womb and I showed you a better life. So now I promise you that if you leave this life, I will show you something better. So one who makes his home a place of worship of Sri Krishna will make his home in Vrindavan a place for him. He will make that arrangement. But it's difficult for us because we are bereft. We get left behind. You know, sometimes, did your mother ever do embroidery? There's a big hoop, and she puts the needle through and pulls it up. And when you're a child and you're looking up at that embroidery hoop, all you see is a tangle of different colored threads hanging down. You don't see any picture. But your mother, who's above the hoop, she can see the picture. So in the same way, we can't see, we can only see in this world, we can only see the tangled threads. We don't know where one thread begins and another thread ends. We don't see the picture. We don't see the full picture. We don't see the complete picture. What this life was, life after life after life. You know, and so, but Krishna can see the picture. Krishna can see the full picture. And he can see which color you are and where to put you in that supreme picture. Very difficult to understand. It's a great mystery. Great mystery. I was, as well as sometimes doing funerals, I do weddings. Everybody knows I do weddings. And sometimes people come to me to sign a passport application as a priest. And sometimes they're British passports, and sometimes they're Irish passports. So when the Irish embassy rings me up and they call me Father, they say, is that Father Kripamoya? I say, oh yes. They said, oh, we were just checking for the passport, you know. So one morning I got a telephone call. Is that Father Kripamoya? I said, yes it is. We want you to come and do a funeral. I said, what sort of funeral? She said, we're Catholics and we want you to do a Hare Krishna funeral. I said, you do realize I don't know how to do a Catholic funeral? No, we want a Hare Krishna funeral. And so it turned out that the deceased, the sister, had passed away. And she left in her will, she wanted a Krishna funeral because she said, Krishna funerals are very joyful. I want one of those. So during the funeral, and you may wonder where this story is going, but I said, I thought to myself, there was 80 people in the hall, and I thought, what am I going to tell them? And so I told them a story from England about the Vikings. And in a room, the size of the room that we're sitting in now, there was soldiers who were Vikings and the king and his minister. And the king said, "It is a great mystery to me what happens after this life finally comes to an end. Can you tell me, O minister?" So the minister said, "Let me think about it for a minute." And during that minute, there was a bird which appeared at that window over there, just that one. And it flew across the heads of everybody in the room, and it flew out that window over there. And the minister turned to the king and he said, "Do you see? That's your answer." The king said, "I'm not very smart, but you, minister, help me to understand." He said, "Well, this chamber, this hall, this room in which we're all sitting is life. All the different people that you meet during life. That bird is you, the soul that flies through life. That window over there is birth, and that window over there is death. Now, my king, do you understand?" And the king said, "That's brilliant. It's a wonderful example." He said, "Now let me ask you two questions." He said, "Is the bird still alive now it has flown out that window?" The king said, "Yes, of course it is." "Was the bird alive before it flew in that window?" "Oh yes, of course." "So therefore, my dear king, life goes on. After what we call death, it is just a bird flying out of the window. And before birth begins, you are already alive. So life is eternal." The king was very satisfied. But were all the Catholics in the room? I wasn't sure. At the end of the funeral, 8 of them came, together with the sister. She was standing in the middle of me, walking towards me. And there was 4 boys either side, all dressed in black. I was dressed like this. And they looked very serious. And the lady came up to me and she said, "That story you told about the bird." That's the accent. "That story that you told about the bird." I said, "Yes," thinking that she might have found some problem with it. She said, "That's true." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "That's true. I know it's true." I said, "Well, explain." She said, "Last month I was in hospital and the doctor came to fix my heart. My heart stopped. When my heart stopped," she said, "I was just like a bird. I flew away right to the top of the room and I was looking down on the doctor. And the doctor was trying to get my heart going. And he was swearing and he was cursing and he was using very, very bad language. After she recovered, she said she felt herself just fly back into her body. So when she woke up, the doctor said to her, he said, "Mary, we got you back. You almost left." She said, "Oh, doctor, I'm very grateful, but I'm a good Catholic woman. You shouldn't have said such foul language." He said, "Mary, I would never swear. I promise. I'm a doctor. I'm a professional." She said, "Oh, you were swearing. You were swearing blue murder." She said, "I could hear you." He said, "Oh no, Mary, that's not possible." He said, he said, "You were under anesthetic. You were totally unconscious." She said, "The hell I was. I was on the ceiling listening to you." So this woman, who knew nothing of Bhagavad Gita, who knew nothing of Sanatana Dharma, she had responded because she had gone through that experience. And many, many, many people have that experience. And sometimes, when you're 75, 80, 82, it is a relief to fly away like a bird, to just be free. Again, that doesn't help us with our sadness, our sense of loss, but at the same time, for the person involved, it represents a moving on, an ability to feel free, and to be reunited with Krishna. Please don't think that it is so difficult to be reunited with Krishna. Krishna is kinder than you think. Krishna is kinder than you think. You know, sometimes we do punish ourselves, don't we? We think, I am possibly, quite possibly, probably the worst devotee of Krishna that has ever lived. I mean, look at my life. I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. Krishna has forgotten about me completely. Krishna doesn't even like me. In fact, I don't even know that Krishna knows about my existence. Do you find yourself thinking like that sometimes? We all do. But actually, Krishna knows how many eyelashes you have. Do you know how many eyelashes you have? You don't know, do you? Even the women who study such things, they don't know. You don't count them. But Krishna knows every single detail. And Krishna remembers every single thing that you've done for him, ever. When this temple was first constructed, well, opened up in 1973, next year it will be 50 years. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is at the back there, he said, if someone comes to this temple and he puts one screw in the wall, I'm not suggesting you should put a screw in the wall, but he said if he does one tiny, tiny thing for Krishna, at that time there was a lot of screws being used to fix the altar. He said, Srimati Radharani will turn to Krishna and say, my dear Lord, look over there. Look at that great devotee. Please give him your mercy. And Krishna will give because she has asked. You see, this is the thing. That it's not up to us to judge. We don't know. We don't know where we will go. And we can't say, we can't measure Charu Krishna Das or anybody. We can't measure them. We don't know. Privately, how much devotion is there? Externally, how much devotion is there? How much dedication was there in the last? It's a long life. 82 years is a long life. There's a lot of opportunities to remember Krishna and to receive mercy from Krishna. So, it is very difficult for us because anything which we do, there's these, I'll finish now, there's these two words. One word is vyavaharika. Vyavaharika. Vyavaharika means conventional, the ordinary. If I say, who are you? You say, well, this is me. This is my name. This is the street where I live. This is my passport. This is my job. Vyavaharika. The other word is paramartika. Paramartika. Paramartika means who you really are. You're not your passport. You're not your street where you live. You're not your, your identity above and beyond all these things. When you're being asked at the customs, at the border, who are you? You don't say, I'm a devotee of Krishna. I've come from that world and I'm going back to that world. That's all I will say. They'll immediately call for security and take you away. So in that level we deal with vyavaharika, we deal with convention. This is my name, my photograph, my rubber stamp, my passport, etc. like that, my visa. But paramartika is who we really are. So on the vyavaharika level, we've lost a great family member. And there will be suffering, there'll be pain, there'll be grief. Don't think that won't come. But in a place like this Krishna temple, we sometimes don't speak with that. We speak to the paramartika. We speak to the highest possible level. And is this not what the Bhagavad Gita teaches us? In the beginning, a very depressed young man, seated on a chariot with Krishna. And by the end of the book, he has been encouraged, guided to see the world, not as he was seeing it, but with a new light, a new perspective, to see the world as the maker of the world sees it. If you could look at this world through the eyes of God, what would you see? This is Bhagavad Gita. If you look at yourself through the eyes of God, what would you see? See someone different. If you could look at Charu Krishnadas, your beloved family member, through the eyes of God, what would you see? If you could only see the story after the bird flies through that window and see the wonderful homecoming he received as he was received into the arms of Krishna, rejoined with Krishna, then you would say, yes, well done, well done. Jai, 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 jai. This is what a wonderful thing. A wonderful life well lived. Someone is running in the Olympics. Finishing line is over here. You're watching. I hope he makes it, I hope he makes it, I hope he makes it. And your television cuts out in the final few seconds and you don't see. You don't see. That's unfortunately what death is. We don't see the medal and the national anthem ceremony. We don't see the congratulations. We don't see everything else. We just see that finality, that vyavaharika moment. We don't see the paramartika. Paramartika means seeing everything. The sequel to the movie. This life that we live is just a few frames of a long film. The middle of the film is never the same as the end of the film. That's where all the drama is, in the middle of the film. The wonderful resolution is at the end. Hare Krishna. So you will do some more bhajan and kirtan, yeah? Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. My prayers are with you and blessings are with you. Please give each other sympathy, and those members of the family that need the most sympathy. That's why you have such a big family and a big community, to make yourself known to them and tell them that you're praying for them over the next few weeks. Hare Krishna.
So Hare Krishna everyone, thank you for coming again to Bhaktivedanta Manor. Just quickly, Kripa Mohaprabhu, for those that don't know, is also a disciple of His Loving Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Kripa Mohaprabhu and his family have actually dedicated their lives to sharing the movement of Srila Prabhupada's teachings, so we're very fortunate to have him today. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a verse that says that the verdict of all revealed scriptures is that a moment's association with the pure devotee can attain us all success. So we're very grateful for the opportunity that Charu Krishna Prabhu has given us to all come to the temple to get the association of our beloved Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, the association of saints and sadhus such as Kripa Mohaprabhu, and of course Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda. So my humble request, we're going to face Srila Prabhupada in the altar, setting up for kirtan. And if the kirtanists could please lead at the front, and if the family members and devotees could please put your phones on silent and try and absorb yourself during this time. This is a time where we can really focus on doing something collectively to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jai Guru Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas. I just wanted to ask your permission to just say a few words about our dear Charu Krishna Prabhu. He was a very important and integral part of our Sangha group back in the day, before Grihastha Ashram. And I remember when we used to get together every week at house programs, the highlight was when he took out from his pocket his crisp, clear, well-prepared white piece of paper in which there was a treasure of knowledge from scriptures, from Srimad Bhagavatam, lots of stories which actually demonstrated his love for our scriptures. He was a father figure, and his positivity in bhakti was absolutely infectious. Charu Krishna Prabhu, I feel honored to say a few words about him today. He had this unique quality of bringing out the best and finding out what was the positive attribute of every single devotee and encouraging them to use that on the path of bhakti and Krishna consciousness. And then as time went on and his grandson Sham started to grow up, when we used to come regularly for Sunday darshan at 4:20 Aarti and 12:30 Aarti, without fail we would see Sham on the right-hand side of the altar, gazing at the deities. And you just had to look a little bit to the left, and on the other side was the loving, watchful eye of his granddad, dear sweet Charu Krishna Prabhu. And on this auspicious time of Kartik, when you've left your body, my prayer, my sincere heartfelt prayer to Shri Shri Radha Damodar Bhagwan is that they keep a very, very special place for you at the dust of their lotus feet. There's a lot of senior Vaishnavas present here today, and if I've caused any offenses by speaking, I do beg your forgiveness. Hare Krishna. So if everybody could turn around for 9 o'clock Aarti. Hare Krishna. विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद राधा गोकुलानंद सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान गौर निताय भगवान की जय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Radhe Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Radhe Jai Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Radhe Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Radhe Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Goranitai Jaya Goranitai Nimanitai Jaya Goranitai Jaya Radha Damodar Radhe Radhe Radha Damodar Radhe Radhe Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Srila Prabhupada Guru Deva Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Srila Prabhupada Guru Deva Srila Prabhupada Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan ki jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai Goranitai Bhagwan ki jai Shri Radha Damodar Bhagwan ki Patita Pavan Shila Prabhupada ki Narashingadev Bhagwan ki jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Jaya Narsimha Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radhe Radhe. Jai Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radhe Radhe. Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jai Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hariba, 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 Nitai Gaura Hariba. Nitai Gaura Hariba, 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 Nitai Gaura Hariba. राधे भगवान की Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for coming to Bhaktivedanta Manor. Thank you for participating in the kirtans. It's really nice to see the devotees and the family together for His Grace Chara Krishna Prabhu. And today we're going to end the kirtans here. We're going to carry on with doing the duties and the services for Chara Krishna Prabhu as the days goes on. From the family, we want to thank the devotees that have come. It's really with your blessings and empowerment that we're able to serve Chara Krishna Prabhu in his final weeks and as the time progresses as well. I myself, we were thinking and we're made of your mercy. So thank you for your prayers, your blessings, your time. Thank you to the devotees that came to the hospital and those have been praying. We have devotees from Vrindavan praying for Chara Krishna Prabhu, from Mayapur, Radhadesh, all around the world. So we're very grateful and we feel very empowered. And our strength is only by your mercy. So please forgive us for any offenses we may cause and have caused in the past. Please keep praying for us that we can serve Chara Krishna Prabhu in the best possible way and that he can go back to the lotus feet of his spiritual master. And please Srila Prabhupada and Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda where he would serve and call his home. Srila Prabhupada ki, His Grace Chara Krishna Prabhu ki, Vaishnava Thakur ki, Vancha kalpa darubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. If everyone could please exit the temple room as the deities will be put to rest soon. Thank you. Usually at the end, but it's good.
Well, sorry.
No.
I gave myself an uncle Bruce as listener. By the way, I should say I really enjoyed playing. It was really nice.
Hopefully it's not the last.
I realise it's probably the first time I've ever played with that.
Yes, I only started playing recently. So
Yeah, you're really good. It's fantastic. Really good. Keep it up. Lovely seeing you playing.
It's been a very long time for you when you used to stand with your dad.
Yeah.
So we were saying to Harry actually.
So nice, those words.
Yeah.
Well done. So lovely. And so spot on.
It's really nice seeing you and I remember seeing you.
Joe Krishna and my father, a lot of them would get confused when they suffered. But there was times after my father passed away, I'd come in here and I'd catch Joe Krishna sitting there, and then I'd always know that he would be around with this young kid running around with me. It was nice. This is my cousin. Thank you for the lovely words.
Just, yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, God welcome.
Sorry.
Well done.
No.
God bless you. Very well.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Are you? Shipping soon. No, they're fine. They're saying I'm mine. Oh, right. Yeah. Where's the phone? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it must be tight. Yeah, that's true. Already.